Morning to you. Welcome to America's Newsroom. So,
good morning.
How was it all decided to lead this charge on the Capitol?
Well, we had a press conference to call attention to the fact that there were these secret proceedings going on that we weren't privy to. We walked out of that press conference, walked into the anteroom outside where the hearing room is, told them we wanted to come in. They said we weren't allowed to come in. And we said by what authority, and they couldn't give us any authority. And we walked in. And I can tell you that the Democrats in that room were dumbfounded that we walked in that room. They were stunned.
And it was my understanding, Congressman, that you had an exchange of words once you were actually in the room with some of the Democrats. What was said?
Well, I talked to several of the Democrats. I told Adam Schiff as he was leaving, I said, Adam, don't leave. And he left anyway. Then I went to the others and said, what is the basis for this to be behind closed doors? What are you doing in here that you can't show out to the public? And one of them literally told me, well, there's not a special prosecutor, so we're having to perform the work of a special prosecutor. We're not prosecutors in the House of Representatives. We're not supposed to be doing that. They're supposed to be conducting an inquiry. And they showed their hand by saying that this is just a hatchet job against the president, and they need to get it out in public for everybody to see.
To be clear, Congressman, what exactly is it that you're asking for? I know your House Armed Services Committee. Do you want additional committees to be allowed into that room? Do you want all members of Congress? Do you want the press to be in there? Do you want it on public television?
I want it completely public. The press, every member of the House of Representatives, anybody from the public that wants to be there should be there. You know, they did this in Watergate. I mean, I happened to have been up here as a student intern during Watergate, and I watched it. They had the witnesses on television. They're doing all this in a room where usually we get secret information that's usually classified. That's not what that room's set up for at all. I walked in that room yesterday and said, this is pathetic. It's about 1/10 the size of the Judiciary hearing room where this should be taking place. I want it all out in the open, every bit of it. And then let's let the American people decide what's what here and not let them selectively leak what they want the American people to know.
I hear the frustration in your voice. Democrats obviously reacting with frustration to this move by you and your fellow Republicans. Here's just a bit of it.
It's a pathetic stunt. All of this is going to be forgotten.
Our Republican colleagues evidently have freaked out. It's really a pathetic show on their part.
Quite honestly, it looked like a mob scene.
How do you respond to that?
The pathetic stunt is what Adam Schiff and the Democrats are doing in that room. And the rest of us have had enough. And we're not going to let them continue to play that game. I'm not worried about the truth. I want the truth to be out there for everybody to see. But if they think they're going to stonewall me and other Republicans in the House of Representatives, they're wrong. And they got surprised yesterday when we fought back, and we're going to continue to fight back.
I know that some of what happened broke some congressional rules, at the very least, some questioning whether or not any laws were broken, particularly because this is an ultra-secret room 3 levels below street level, that you and your fellow members of Congress entered and didn't, say, stash your cell phones or your Fitbit watches. Electronics were not allowed in that room. Do you have any regret with how some of this was handled yesterday, Congressman?
No, though, some of the staff members took our cell phones from us. They took them away from us. We didn't have our cell phones. So I know they're trying to make a big deal out of that, but hey, by the way, they announced before we even got in the room that this witness was not going to be offering anything that was classified. Well, if it's not going to be classified, why are we in a room like that? Look, this is a sham, and they're trying to throw stuff like out there so that somehow we can't get it out that it's a sham.
Well, Adam Schiff,
but the American people saw that.
Adam Schiff, for his part, says that the reason for this secrecy that you obviously are taking issue with is he doesn't want witnesses coordinating their testimony before they even give it. Adam Schiff said this, and these are his words: the president's allies in Congress, responding to what happened yesterday, are trying to make it even more difficult for these witnesses to cooperate, but we're grateful that witness is a real professional and has come forward, notwithstanding the obstacles. Democrats, in response to all this yesterday, said that they will eventually conduct these hearings in public when they're ready. Are you optimistic that that will eventually happen, Congressman?
Well, yesterday, after what we did, that's the first time we've ever heard them even say that they would ever get it out in public. We had to go and do what we did yesterday to get them to even make that commitment. I'm not satisfied with this process. It needs to be public today. And if they're not willing to do that, then the American people should demand that they do it. There's no reason for this not to be out in the public for everybody to see.
Final thoughts on that. The Washington Post reported that Democrats debated calling Capitol Police to resolve the situation, although they felt that that would be feeding into Republicans' hands. How far were you willing to go with this? And is there going to be more of it?
I went as far as I was willing to go yesterday. I walked in the room, I was quiet, ready to hear the witness, and then they walked out.
All right, you are a member of the House Armed Services Committee. Before I let you go, I'd like to ask you about the president's announcement on Syria yesterday. Congressman lifting sanctions on Turkey, talking about a permanent peace deal situation. Are you optimistic with the president's strategy here?
I don't have any confidence in the Turks. I don't have any confidence in the Syrians, and I certainly have no confidence in the Russians. I'm afraid we're going to have to come back to this topic again. And we need to take this up with our NATO allies. The activities and the words of the Turkish leadership has got me very, very concerned about our ongoing relationship with them.
What do you think the United States needs to do next?
Well, we need to be very active there in that area because ISIS has been defeated as a caliphate, but it's not been defeated completely. There's still ISIS soldiers out there, and I'm afraid they'll regroup if we don't watch out. But I'm also very concerned about the status of Turkey as a NATO ally. They're not acting like an ally, not just in this episode, but in other episodes. And I'm worried about what they're about to become, not just there in the Middle East, but as they get more and more in league with Russia.
Congressman Byrne, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for coming on.
Good to be with you.
All right.
So from Washington to